Hi, I'm Mike Bellevue. I'm the Reload 'em columnist for Combat Handguns magazine. And today I'd like to give you some information about the 38 Super cartridge, which is a great cartridge. It was developed in 1929 in the Prohibition era. And it was developed for, of course, the 1911, and we'll be testing it in this Taurus 1911 clone. This is a very high velocity round. It can be loaded up almost to 357 Magnum velocities. So we'll give you some tips about the round, and we'll also give you a great load, and then we'll do a little bit of shooting. For quite a few years, I loaded 38 Super cartridges with a 3-die RCBS die set. This is a fantastic die set, and it really worked great for me. But recently I decided to switch over to a turret press, and I had to make some changes to my die set to do that. Lee turrets, like this one, use a 4-stage system. You can see they have 4 holes for dies. So that required me to kind of change the way I was thinking about my die set, and it gave me the opportunity to add a Lee factory crimp die. So I changed my die set. I added a die. I added a Lee factory crimp die, and more about that in a minute. And then I decided to change out the case mouth expander die. My RCBS die is a great one, but it does not allow you to load powder through the expander die. And in order to get the full benefit of the speed of a turret press, I needed to be able to do that. So I added a Lee case mouth expander die. As you can see on this press, it has a shell holder and an auto prime. Lee's priming. Right, that little plunger that comes up right there. I'll show you that. As I had said before, if you've seen some of my other videos, you know I don't really like priming on the press, but the exception are turret presses and progressive presses. So that's the primer magazine. It holds several hundred. We're getting down there right now. As I had told you, I changed out the case mouth expansion die, and the reason I did that is so it could accommodate loading powder through the case. And this is a Lee auto disc powder measure, though in my case I replaced the disc system with this micrometer adjustable powder bar, and as you can see it has this screw adjustment here, and it's a very accurate powder measure set up that way. I like it. As is plain to see, I have most of my turrets set up that way. I also actually have most of my Dillon tool heads set up with the same powder measure. So this is the standard model, that's the Pro model. The difference is $10, and that's about all. So go ahead and buy the standard model. One of the things I'm pretty proud of, if you take a look at this, you can see how I store my turrets all loaded up. To me, this is a weakness of the Lee system. Back when they had 3-die turret systems, you could store it right in the die case that came with the dies. But now with the 4 dies, they come in a flat case, and there's no way to do that. So what I've done is I've made this little stand here, which you can see. And this is spaced so that it fits up underneath the turrets. And this little pin here holds a shell holder. And I'll pull my 38 Special out that doesn't have a powder measure on to show you. So pull that off and put it right back on, and life is nice, right? So I can store all of my turrets with their appropriate shell holder right here on the bench, and it's a very clean setup. So as you can see, we're all set to go. The original dies on here are the sizing and decapping die, and then all the way on the other side are the seating die, and then the case mouth expansion die is here with the powder dispenser on it, and then back over here is a Lee factory crimp die, and everything is good to go. Now what we're using for components are Midway 120 grain full metal jacketed bullets, and these are Midway's own brand. I've got to admit that I buy so much stuff from Midway. It would probably be smart if my paycheck was just sent directly to them every month, and then they send me whatever is left over. But they make great stuff. And I hate to estimate how much stuff on this bench actually comes via Midway. For a powder, we're using Alliance Blue Dot. And we tried Power Pistol with this and Blue Dot when I was working up a load. And several loads with Blue Dot. And I'm going to give you the load that worked the best. It's basically 7.9 grains of Blue Dot, a Federal small pistol primer, and then one of these 120 grain bullets. And that is absolutely a stellar load, delivers over 1,200 feet per second of velocity, and the accuracy was just outstanding. So let's show you how we load them up here on the turret press. On a progressive press, the shells move around and the dies and the tool head stay stationary. And basically the shells index around, you keep putting a new shell in, it goes through each station and it drops off the other end very fast. Turret presses are not quite so fast. They operate under a different principle, which is that the shell stays stationary and the die set revolves around to perform each function, and you make a finish round, in this case, with every 4 cranks of the handle. So the first step is to go up and size it, and to put a primer on the case, which is just that simple. As we come down, that primer is going to cam back underneath the shell and then be pushed up into it. Then we go up, and the powder dispenses at the same time that the case mouth is being expanded. Come on down, put a bullet in, the bullet goes up, is seated. We come on down, and the bullet goes up into the Lee Factory crimp die. And we then have a finish round of 38 Super ammunition. We'll do that one more time. I'm going slower than I would go in actual practice, though I'm no speed demon. But we will size it, deprime and prime, add powder to the case. When we come down, we'll put the bullet in. We go up, bullet is seated. We come down and then back up, and we're into the sizing die. The thing that makes all of this work is this little helix right down here on the end of this rod. And when the carrier comes down and rotates down the helix, it causes the whole assembly to rotate around. So we'll just do one more. We'll add a primer. Now it's primed. Up for powder. We come down over that helix, it rotates again, bullet goes in, bullet seats, bullet crimps, and we're ready back at the station, and we've got a good finished round of ammunition. My 38 Super pistol is this Taurus PT 1911 clone. It's a great pistol. It's relatively inexpensive for a 1911, but very accurate, very well built. I mounted these Hogue Grim Reaper grips on it, a little over the top, but I just couldn't resist. Hi. Okay, we're out here on the range. Today we're going to be shooting 38 Super. We're going to shoot it in the Taurus PT 1911. It's not an ideal day. It's in the low 30s. Wind is gusty, but this is short range work. We should be good. So, put my ears on and we'll get going. That's it. 38 Super, Taurus 1911.